My own son didn't invite me to his wedding. Not a call, not a message, not even my name on the guest list. But 2 days before the ceremony, I received a letter. Not from him, but from the bride he thought I'd never meet. She wrote only one line. A mother should never have to beg to see her own child marry. And that one sentence changed everything. I never thought I would be that mother. The kind who sits alone in her kitchen, staring at an empty calendar, realizing she won't be there to watch her only son say I do. My son, Ethan, the boy I raised as a single mother, the one I worked double shifts for, didn't send me a wedding invitation. No RSVP card. No call. Just silence. My sister tried to soften the blow. He's building a new life. Don't make it about you. But they didn't see the way I kept my phone beside me every night, waiting, hoping, praying for his voice. His father left when Ethan was 9. I stayed. I fought for him. I gave him everything I never had, and somehow I ended up with nothing. The wedding was in 72 hours, and I had no seat, no place, no role. Until the letter came. Not from my son, not from anyone in my family, but from a woman I had never met. His bride, Kara. The envelope was cream-colored, simple, no glitter, no decoration, no celebration. Just my name, written in soft handwriting that almost trembled on the page. To Ethan's mother. My hands shook before I even opened it. Inside, there was no formal invitation card, no dates or seating arrangements. Just a handwritten note, gentle, careful, like the writer was afraid of breaking me further. It read, I know you weren't invited, but I want you there. A wedding without a mother is half empty. I must have read those lines 20 times. My son didn't want me, but his bride did. Why? My thoughts spun. Did he speak badly of me? Did they have a fight about me? Or worse, did he pretend I didn't exist? I sat there for hours, the note open in my lap, heart pounding like it was trying to climb its way out. Then I flipped the paper over. One more sentence was written, smaller, shakier. He may have forgotten you, but I want to know the woman who raised the man I love. My breath left my body like someone punched it out. No one in my own family asked how I felt. No one called. No one cared. But she cared. Kara, a stranger, reached for me in a way my son never did. For a moment, I didn't know whether to cry or pack my suitcase. The next morning, I stood in my bedroom with an open suitcase on the bed. Clothes neatly folded, then unfolded, then folded again. Was I going as a guest or as an intruder? My heart said go. My fear said stay home. I kept picturing Ethan's face, older now, sharper jaw, different haircut, but still my little boy somewhere behind those grown eyes. Would he be angry if he saw me? Would he turn away? Would he pretend not to know me? I held the note from Kara like it was oxygen. Maybe she meant it. Maybe she wanted peace. Maybe I deserved one last chance. I packed a navy blue dress, the one I saved for important days. I stood in front of the mirror, brushing my hair slowly, as if every stroke erased 5 years of distance. No makeup could hide the ache in my eyes. But I didn't want to look perfect. I wanted to look like a mother. Before closing my suitcase, my hand hovered over Ethan's old watch, the one he left behind when he moved out. I slipped it into my pocket, not as a gift, as a reminder of who I was to him once. While locking the door behind me, a thought whispered, even if he rejects me, I still deserve to see my son marry. And with that I left. Not invited, but not unwelcome either. The venue was everything I imagined a fairy tale would look like. White roses, gold chairs, soft music drifting like a dream. People laughed in clusters, glasses raised, cameras flashing memories I was never meant to be part of. As I stepped through the entrance, the room shifted. Conversations paused. Eyes turned. Whispers traveled like wind through leaves. Some recognized me. Some didn't. Some just stared, trying to place the woman who walked in alone, clutching a small handbag like a lifeline. I inhaled steady, but my chest trembled. Then, across the crowd, I saw him. Ethan, my son, standing tall in a black suit that made him look older than his years. He laughed at something someone said, the same crooked smile he had as a child. For a moment, I forgot everything. The pain, the silence, the missing years. He was just my boy, until his eyes lifted and found mine. His smile faded, slow, like ice melting down the edge of a glass. Surprise first, then confusion, then something colder, something that stung like a slap. He didn't move, didn't blink. I opened my mouth to say his name, but no sound came out. A single thought echoed in my mind. Does my own son wish I wasn't here? Before I could fall apart, a soft hand touched mine. I turned. Kara, the bride, the woman who invited me, standing there in white satin, eyes kind, gentle, unlike the tension around us. She smiled, not nervously but with certainty. You came, she whispered, and in that moment, she felt like the only light in the room. Kara didn't let go of my hand. She held it tighter, like she was anchoring me in a room where I didn't belong. Come with me, she said softly, and before Ethan could speak, she guided me past the guests, through the whispers, toward the front row where family sat. Some people stared, offended. Some looked away like shame was contagious, but only one face mattered. Ethan. He stepped forward, jaw tense, eyes sharp. Mom, why are you here? Not Mom. Not you came. Just why? My throat tightened. I reached into my purse and pulled out the letter, her letter, hand trembling. I came because your bride invited me, I said quietly. I didn't want to ruin anything. I just wanted to see you marry. For a moment, nobody breathed. Kara stepped closer to him, her voice steady, spine straight. Ethan, I invited her because you didn't. He looked at her like she had betrayed him, but she wasn't backing down. A man is not complete without the woman who raised him, she said. Your wedding shouldn't happen with an empty seat where your mother should be. The room went still. My son's eyes flickered, anger, pride, confusion, guilt. I couldn't tell, but I could see the boy he was, and the man torn between two truths. My heart raced. Would he push me away again? Would he ask me to leave? Would I walk out twice broken? His voice cut through the silence. Mom, we need to talk. Not softly, not kindly, but there was something new inside it. Fear, and maybe, just maybe, regret. He led me to a smaller side room near the hall, not private, just quieter. The music still played faintly behind us, laughter beating like a reminder of where I didn't belong. He shut the door gently, but his voice wasn't gentle at all. You weren't supposed to be here. The words were knives. I swallowed hard. I didn't come to ruin anything. I came because I still love you. He exhaled sharply, like love was pressure he couldn't hold. Mom, you make everything complicated. Complicated. The word echoed. Was I complicated when I worked 3 jobs to feed us? Was I complicated when I stayed awake during his fevers, alone, terrified? Was I complicated when I held him after heartbreaks he thought would kill him? I felt tears burn, but I blinked them away. What did I do so wrong that you cut me out of your life? I whispered. His eyes flickered. Pain first, then something darker. You were always in control, always deciding everything for me. You never let me grow. I stepped back like he hit me. Control. The word felt like a lie dressed as truth. Ethan, I said quietly, I wasn't controlling you. I was raising you. Alone. For the first time, his jaw softened, just barely. Kara said you deserved to be here, not me. He looked down, guilt creeping up like a shadow he couldn't outrun. He wasn't angry. He was scared. Scared of needing me. Scared of admitting he pushed me away. Scared that the woman he loved saw worth in the mother he abandoned. In a trembling voice I asked, Do you want me here, or should I leave? He didn't answer. Not immediately. He just stood there, a man in a wedding suit, suddenly a boy again, lost between pride and love. And then, his eyes filled with tears. It happened so slowly, like a storm finally giving up its rain. Ethan's shoulders lowered, fists unclenched, and his voice cracked through years of silence. I missed you. 3 words. Soft, small, but loud enough to break me open. I covered my mouth, holding back the sob that wanted to escape. He stepped closer, not touching, just closing the distance he created for 5 long years. But I didn't know how to come back, he whispered. All the anger, pride, stubbornness. It was just fear wearing armor. My friends said I needed space, that you were too protective, that I'd never grow if you stayed in my life. He looked up ashamed. And I believed them. There it was. The wound. The root. Not hate, just guidance from people who never knew the nights I spent awake holding a boy with nightmares. I took a slow breath. You could have told me that, I said softly. You didn't need to disappear. You just needed to speak. He closed his eyes like regret was heavy on his back. I thought you'd fight me, he admitted. I thought you'd hold on and not let go. A single tear slid down his face. I thought losing you would hurt less if I was the one who left first. My heart cracked, but not from pain, from understanding. I reached out, my fingers barely touching his sleeve. And did it? I asked gently. He shook his head with a breath that shattered in his chest. No. It destroyed me. For the first time in 5 years, we weren't enemies. We weren't strangers. We were mother and son, finally standing on the same side of the truth. And somewhere beyond that closed door, a wedding waited. But before vows were spoken, before rings exchanged, he needed to choose pride or his mother. And in a voice thick with love and ruin, he whispered, "Stay. Please stay." The music was still playing, guests were still talking, lights still shining. But for me, the world had shifted. I wasn't outside the circle anymore. I was standing beside my son. Kara approached us slowly, bouquet in hand, eyes soft like she already knew what happened behind that door. She didn't say anything at first. She just smiled, a smile kind enough to hold me up when my knees almost gave out. I stepped closer, voice unsteady but full of truth. "Thank you," I told her. "You didn't have to invite me, but you did, and you gave me my son back." She reached out and took my hands, warm and gentle. "No mother should miss her son's wedding," she whispered, "and no man should forget where he came from." For a second, emotion sat heavy in my throat. Not sadness, something softer, something like healing. Ethan looked at both of us, eyes glossy but sincere. He took Kara's hand in one of his, mine in the other, and for the first time in years, we were connected. Not broken, not distant, not lost, just family, standing in one line, ready to walk forward together. After a few minutes of peace, the kind I had waited years to feel, Ethan's face changed. Not cold, not distant, but heavy, like a truth he'd been carrying finally demanded to be spoken. He exhaled slowly, voice low enough that only Kara and I heard it first. "Mom, there's something you never knew." My heartbeat paused. When we stopped talking, it wasn't only me pulling away. He looked toward the far end of the hall, toward a woman in a silver dress, laughing loudly among guests. My sister, his aunt, the same woman who once held him when he cried, who visited on birthdays, who hugged me at funerals. I followed his gaze. She looked untouched by guilt, shining like a guest of honor. Ethan swallowed, shame tightening his words. "She told me you were controlling. She said you wanted to own me, that I needed to escape you to live my life." My stomach hollowed. Every time I wanted to come back, she convinced me not to. She said you would ruin my marriage, my future. He blinked, voice breaking. "Mom," I tried. "I wanted to see you." But I kept hearing her voice more than yours. The music around us blurred into a hum. My hands trembled, from pain, not anger. 5 years of silence, built not from hate, but from poison whispered by someone we trusted. I didn't run. I didn't cry. I walked, straight toward her. She turned when she saw me, surprise flashing like lightning across her face. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cause a scene. I stood tall, the mother she tried to erase. "You told my son I was dangerous," I said slowly. "You kept him from me for years. You fed him doubt until he believed I was someone worth losing." Her smile flickered, defensive, sharp. "You were always a favorite," she muttered. "Everything came to you. People loved you too easily. I just wanted one person to love me more. Jealousy. Simple. Ugly. Deadly. She wanted attention, even if it meant burning me out of my own son's life." I stepped closer, controlled, unshaken. "You stole half a decade of my relationship with my son, but you won't steal one more second." Her eyes dropped, not in regret, but defeat. Behind me, Ethan stood silent, finally seeing the truth without distortion. And in that moment, it wasn't just a reunion. It was a reclaiming. A mother taking back the place that was always hers. My words landed like a stone dropped into still water. Heavy, undeniable, impossible to ignore. Deanne's face flushed red, lips thin with anger and embarrassment. She grabbed her handbag, chin high like pride could hide guilt. Without another word, she turned and walked out of the hall, heels striking the marble floor like a retreat in defeat. No applause, no goodbye, just silence behind her. Kara stepped forward, gathering her courage like a woman who knew truth mattered more than comfort. She looked at the guests, dozens of eyes waiting to understand what they just witnessed. She spoke clearly, not dramatic, not loud, calm, proud, and full. This woman raised the groom alone. She worked, sacrificed, and gave years of love without asking for anything back. She deserved to be here from the beginning. People turned, some gasped, some nodded slowly, shame touching those who once whispered against me. Ethan took my hand gently, this time without hesitation. Kara continued, voice glowing like light through stained glass. A wedding celebrates more than two people. It honors everyone who built them, especially a mother. And then she did something I never expected. She invited me to stand beside her at the ceremony, not hidden in a corner, not tucked behind strangers, but right next to the bride herself. A place of honor, a place I never begged for, but finally earned back. The music began again, soft and beautiful. Guests parted, forming an aisle. Ethan offered his arm, not as a child asking for forgiveness, but as a man acknowledging who made him one. "Walk with me," he said. "Not behind him, not after him, with him." And so I did, head high, tears shining, heart finally whole. Mother, son, bride, side by side. Not perfect, not repaired overnight, but on a path back to each other. And that was enough. 3 weeks had passed since the wedding. The house was quieter now. No music, no guests, no ceremony lights. Just a home, rebuilding itself slowly. I sat in the living room one evening, warm tea between my palms, watching Kara fold laundry beside me, humming softly like peace could be stitched back into fabric. For a while, I just admired her. Not as a bride anymore, but as the woman who gave me my son back. Then I finally asked the question that lived under my ribs. "How did you know I wasn't the villain they said I was?" She paused, looked up slowly, eyes steady. Not pity, not forced softness, just truth. Kara's secret. She sat next to me, folding her hands in her lap like she was laying a truth gently between us. "Ethan introduced me to your sister long before the wedding." She began quietly. I felt a sting, the past brushing my skin again. She was polite, but every time I visited, she'd say something small. A sentence here, a comment there like seeds. Kara's voice slowed, as if remembering every tone, every warning. "She said you were demanding, that you couldn't let go, that you'd ruin our marriage the same way you ruined theirs." My chest tightened, not because she said it, but because someone I loved tried so hard to make those words true. Kara looked at me with a gentle firmness, but she never gave me reasons. She never gave me proof. Only opinions, and opinions felt too prepared, too practiced. That was the first crack. The second came later, the day everything changed. One afternoon, 6 months before the wedding. Kara met my sister again, by coincidence at a cafe. But this time, someone else was there too. Her father. Kara took a long breath before continuing. My dad recognized her immediately. My brows pulled together. She nodded slowly, voice lowering. Years ago, she dated someone in our town. She lied, manipulated, caused fights, and left that family shattered. Her father told her everything. Not out of malice, but warning. He called her dangerous, Kara said gently. And for the first time, the pieces made sense. The aunt didn't hate me for what I did, but for what I had that she didn't. A son who loved me, even in distance. Jealousy isn't loud. It whispers. Kara turned toward me fully, voice firm now, stronger. "I didn't defend you because you were his mother. I defended you because truth felt like yours, not hers." My throat tightened with a warmth I hadn't felt in years. She didn't save me because she had to. She saved me because she saw me. And I whispered, voice breaking softly, "You're the daughter I didn't know I needed." Kara smiled, and for the first time, it reached her eyes fully. She placed her hand over mine, steady, sure of belonging. "And you're the mother I wanted long before the wedding." Time softened the edges of the past. Not quickly, not magically, but gently, like sunlight melting frost. Kara began stopping by my house after work, sometimes with groceries, sometimes with nothing but time and warmth to offer. One evening, she showed up with fresh pasta, wine, and a smile that felt like home. "Tonight we cook together," she said. "Not as guests, not as strangers stitched by marriage, but as two women building a bridge, one shared meal at a time." At the dinner table, we stood side by side in my kitchen, chopping vegetables, laughing at burnt garlic and oversalted sauce. Kara asked about Ethan as a child, and I told her everything. His first steps in the hallway, how he cried the first day of school until I sat outside in the parking lot all day, how he used to sleep with one sock missing every night. Kara listened like these weren't stories, but treasures she finally had access to. She wasn't trying to replace the past. She was trying to understand it. Midway through dinner, Ethan walked in quietly. Tie loosened, tired eyes softened by the smell of home. He froze for a moment, like the scene surprised him. His mother and wife cooking together, talking, laughing, healing, something he once believed impossible. He sat with us, plate in hand, and for the first time, no one felt misplaced. I didn't talk about the years lost. I didn't ask for apologies. I talked about memories instead, the ones still ours to keep. Ethan listened more than he spoke. Every now and then, he'd smile at a story I thought he forgot. Slowly, without ceremony or grand speeches, the distance began to dissolve, a small moment that meant everything. After dinner, when Ethan stepped out to take a call, Kara stayed behind with me, helping wash dishes. Water warm, silence easy, connection effortless. She looked at me, eyes soft and genuine. "He's trying, you know," she said quietly. "He's afraid, but he wants you back." I nodded, not because I needed her reassurance, but because hearing it made the healing feel real. "And I want both of you," I replied, my voice steady, no bitterness left. We didn't hug. We didn't celebrate. We just stood together, two women who chose love over resentment. And that was enough. Ethan returned, slid between us gently, placing a hand on each of our backs. Not possession, connection. We made tea. We talked about future holidays, family dinners, maybe children someday. Not as in-laws, but as something simpler and deeper. Family. Not perfect, not glossy, but real. Brought back not by blood, but by compassion.